So it's now over to any questions.
Wow, thank you, Craig and Paula. It's for an absolutely eye-opening talk there. So I just feel calmer just listening to you talk about it, let alone take it. Hello to everyone at home too. Thanks for tuning in. We've had a flurry of questions. First up, on quite a range of issues as well. But we've got about just under 10 minutes for questions. So this first one's from Robin in Powick. He says, for you guys, do you think that the debate around the legalization of marijuana distracts from the more important uses of hemp?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it does detract from it because we don't really agree with the criminalisation of a plant anyway, and because it's in a legal type arena, it takes away. We've just been talking about gardening today. We've just been talking about and focusing on the miraculous abilities of this plant, this amazing plant. And you know, if we didn't feel so iffy about having conversations about it, then perhaps we could discover and explore more and go deeper and deeper into you know what it brings to us. So I think it does detract from it really quite a lot. It'd be great if we could be more open about it.
Yeah, definitely. Even as a qualified CBD therapist, I can't say anything about it.
Yeah,
I can't say what it does.
Wow.
Which is like, for me as an aromatherapist, I can say about loads of different essential oils, but nothing about CBD. So yeah.
But there are people who can, and they're on the internet. So please look for them, and we'll give you the resource sheet at the end.
It's fascinating. Thank you for that answer. There's been quite a lot of interest in particularly what you were saying, Paula, about helping your children with kind of de-stressing them. I think particularly because of the stress around the exams that have been happening at the moment. Obviously, lots of young people struggling. Ruth in Abergavenny asks whether CBD can be prescribed by doctors, or do you sort of have to do it yourself?
You have to do it yourself.
Right.
The doctors aren't qualified, and we're not qualified either to give dosage, but we have got a rough dosage, and what we say is start low and go slow, and just, you know, start on a low dosage, and with kids it's a really low percentage, and just take it really slowly. Perhaps try it out on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday before they go to school, so you've got an idea. And again, probably taking it 3 times a day. Just depends on symptoms. So we're always happy to talk to people, but we can't advise.
We can't advise in that way. What we do offer is another free resource, which is a progress log. So you can download a progress log from our website, and you can write down how many drops you're taking, why you are taking it, what the effects were, and whether you then took it up and down, and what the effects were. So in effect, you're taking responsibility for your own well-being there, or your own family's well-being, and you're not coming in and all guns blazing and guzzling it down and sort of 100 drops. Do you know what I mean? You're being responsible, and you're actually, whilst you're focusing on it, when your awareness is on it, it seems to really help you to get a good relationship with the plant.
Yeah, the plant speaks to you, and everybody is different. So there's levels of sensitivity in people. Some people that have been on drugs or addicts have a much higher tolerance to somebody else that might be really sensitive. So it's really important to find your way with it.
Okay. Andy asks about growing your own hemp. What's the process with that? Is it okay to do? Do you have to get a license? What's the vibe with that?
As far as I'm aware, you have to get a license, and it's the Home Office that grants the license, and there's a lot of controversy around it, a lot, which is a shame, because it's harmless basically, and that, you know, we've got our own ideas as to why these things are happening. As part of the British Hemp Alliance, that organisation, that association, deals with lobbying government and just getting across to MPs how safe this plant is and how safe the whole process is. And we are getting somewhere. I think ears are beginning to open. There are some companies that are licensed to grow in the UK medical cannabis, which is fantastic. It's a great step forward. However, we don't want to turn it into some sort of pharmaceutical, because it isn't that. It's a plant. So I think there's room for all different ways of using this plant, and nobody should be left out, because there's plenty of creative ideas as to how we can apply it for people and for ourselves, for our own well-being. Again, if you look for Aunt Zelda's TED Talks from Aunt Zelda's online, then she'll talk about some very, very interesting uses and what kind of explorations they've been doing in terms of well-being.
Yeah, she's in the States.
She's in the States, yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. Our last question relates to that a little bit, actually. This comes from Emily, who's in Dimmock. I think this is in relation to what you were saying about hemp's capacity to actually replace a lot of the work that crude oil does, and all of the incredible products that you can make just purely using hemp. She says, should the current government learn from their forefathers and encourage hemp production in a more industrial scale?
Absolutely,
100%. Let's permaculture hemp everywhere. It's like, let's have it in people's gardens. If we can do it during war times and it's considered a great resource, why is it not a great resource in peacetime? It's nonsensical. It's ridiculous, because it's a plant, and it's a plant that can really help us. We've seen what it can do to the soil. It can transform pollution that's killing our earth. Why are we not acting quicker? And we're not acting quicker because so much information has been hidden, but it's now coming to light. And I think quite a lot of MPs who are progressive in their outlook are coming round to a more open way of looking at it, and hopefully that will help to push legislation through much quicker, because we need it now. We don't need it in 10, 20 years' time. We actually need it now, as I'm sure gardeners will appreciate.
It's a really big solution to a lot of problems, and we are still quite behind in this country with our views, our policies, the government's policies on hemp and marijuana. And CBD, it's a very sort of volatile business to be in, because they keep changing the rules and saying it's not this and it's not that, and take this percent out, and now it's down to this percent, and we don't know. We don't stock up a huge amount of products, because we don't know from one month to the next whether we're going to actually be able to stock that anymore.
It's quite confused, and it's quite confusing. Understandably, it's like nobody wants anybody to get into drug use. But interestingly, we know of instances where people have been using CBD to get themselves away from cannabis use and from cannabis overuse, because they tell us that it mitigates the impact of the THC in cannabis and marijuana. So that's all we can say, that what we've been told, that's what we've been told. And there are research studies that are now sort of coming out of the woodwork. It's really interesting what it could do with some real action from
it really needs to speed up. Needs to speed up.
Sounds like such a fascinating industry frustrating as much as fascinating industry to be in. I'm just quite curious, as a last little question, whether you think that we'll see a change in legislation sort of in our lifetimes. Obviously, in America, it's something sort of state by state basis. Do you think that's something we'll see in this country?
I think it's just inevitable. Yeah, it's inevitable. It's going to come. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, you heard it here first, folks.
Thanks. If we don't get moving quick.
Right. Yeah. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. Thank you to Paula and Craig.
Coming with CBD, we know what's coming.
Right.
Edibles and all sorts.
Gotcha. Understood. Right. Well, thank you very much, Paula and Craig, from Be Calm with CBD, for that fascinating talk.